So let's jump into it, shall we? Today on my desk, we have the Eweadn. I'm probably saying it wrong. I know I'm saying it wrong. S9. This was sent out for review. Now, as always, I'm gonna keep it a stack. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no false flag. I'm gonna be 100 with y'all and let you know exactly how I feel, my honest and raw thoughts. So with that being said, let's jump right into the review so you can see exactly how I feel about this mouse. So I have had some people say that when I post reviews, a lot of my reviews are like biased or based, depending on the company or whatnot. And that's not true at all because I always keep it a stat. And if I really feel like a product is a good product, I'm going to say it. And if I feel like a product is a bad product, I'm going to say it, no matter the price or, whatever variable's going to it. I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel. And this is a mouse that is hit or miss for me. It was already hit or miss because it's being marketed as a clone to the Viper V3 Pro. It's competing with a big dog, you feel me? And the Viper V3 Pro isn't a shape that I personally enjoy. I always said I might do a review down the road for that mouse, but it's not really a mouse that I enjoy, you know what I'm saying? I've had it, and I just never felt like I needed to do a review for it. It's a mouse that is a different take on the Superglide shape. This is a symmetrical mouse that is a safe shape that is great for most grip styles. That is the overall appeal of mice like the S9, the Superglide, the Viper V3 Pro. They all have slight differences that might appeal to others, but for the most part, they're one and the same. So for me, this mouse was something I was excited to try just because I was like, well, this really does feel like a one-to-one clone to the Viper V3. So I will actually put a lot of time into using this mouse so I can really understand how that mouse feels, right? And for me, the Viper V3 Pro just feels better to use compared to this mouse. Not because it's more premium, but because the coding on this mouse is dog shit. The coding on this mouse literally ruined my experience. And this isn't a negative review by any means. Like, this mouse is using a 3950 sensor in it. It has the top-notch specs on the market right now. It has 3 different models. So it has the S9 base model, which is just a 1K with the 3395 sensor. And then you have the Pro and the Ultra, which comes with a 3950 sensor and 8K polling. It has web driver software, so you can do everything you can do from within your web browser. You ain't got to download anything. It is glitchy, so hopefully they do work that out in the future. But it is glitchy, a little finicky. It doesn't save settings all the time. It has a 500 milliamp battery in here, so it is a big boy. You know what I'm saying? It's a chunky boy. And this mud coming about 60 grams, give or take, and it feels a lot more dense than that. And that's another thing about the Viper V3 Pro for me personally. They come in similar weight categories, and that one just feels like lighter. It just feels more fluid, more effortless. This one feels a little bit more dense. It kind of gives me the vibe of like older Zowie and Baxi mice that came in around the 70-80 gram range. It feels that dense generally. Like, honestly, it feels that dense in hand to me. I'm not a big person about weight either. Like, I can use anything for the most part, light, heavy, whatever. But this one in particular, it just feels a lot heavier than what it actually is. And to some people, that might be a good thing or a bad thing. Now, the main clicks, they are using the Kel white blade switches. The Kel white blade switches is something that I have personally never used before. I didn't even know Kel made white blade switches. I've only used the GX switches from OP1 and maybe other older Kel switches that they don't make no more, or just wasn't really that good, that had double clicking issues. And the white blade switches aren't bad by any means. I think it's more so the fact that this is a budget mouse is what ruins the experience. The click feel isn't bad, it's good enough to get by, but the click does feel lifeless. It feels hollow. It doesn't really feel like it has any kind of personality to it, so it doesn't really feel too crispy. It doesn't really feel tactile. It doesn't really have that punch that I talk about a lot of times in my reviews. Kind of like how a mouse that is similar in a lot of ways to the S9, the XeV2 from Baxi. Now this mouse, in terms of click feel, feels amazing. Feels amazing, crisp, tactile, very premium. And I mean, that's what's going to happen when you're talking about price differences and the companies that's making them and things like that. So of course this mouse is going to feel better than this mouse. This is a budget option mouse. But the main clicks aren't bad by any means. They're good enough to get by. Just don't go expecting some top-notch extreme quality. Side buttons is also something that I had a huge problem with as well. Not because of the size of them. They are perfectly sized, massive side buttons, easy to hit. Remind me a lot of the Maya side buttons, the Maya X side buttons, which is another mouse that's also similar to this mouse. Remind me a lot of the Maya X side buttons, but I do like how these side buttons feel at times. Like when they're broken in, they feel a lot better, but initially they just feel very mushy, dull, boring. And that's going to be a common trend with this mouse because it isn't doing anything different. It isn't doing anything perfect. It's doing everything good enough to where it can be used. And there is some post travel. There is some mushiness, but overall they do feel good to click. Initially there was this like annoying ass sound when clicking it, like when you tap it, it was just this annoying sound. But with a little tape, I was able to fix that. Now, back to the coding. The coding is absolute dog shit. And this ruined my entire experience with this mouse. Now, I'm not saying this mouse is bad by any means. I have to say that again because the beginning of this review sounded very negative, I would say. It's just the coding ruined the experience because this mouse really isn't doing anything different. You know, it's a very safe, symmetrical shape that's good for most grip styles, ideal for bigger hands, even smaller hands. If you palm grip, it's really good for palm grip, and it's just very comfortable. But the coating is what ruined it for me. I heard a lot of people say that they really enjoyed this glossy coating, and me personally, I wish I could have tried the matte coating that they have for their black, purple, black, and white variants, because on this green one, this glossy coating is absolutely terrible. It's very slippery. Initially, first impressions when I had it, I was like, oh, this is very grippy. You know, I've used a lot of glossy coatings in the past, and a lot of them hit or miss. And I've used very few that I actually really enjoyed that actually had like a really nice grippy feeling to them. And this one has initially like a really nice grippy feeling to them, and they're calling it their nano frosted coating. I don't know if that just goes for the glossy or for the matte, or if it goes for all of their mice, the S9 mice, but they're calling it the nano frosted coating. It says it provides a comfortable, secure grip while resisting fingerprints and wear. Now the fingerprint part, that is true. I haven't seen any fingerprints on here. They basically dissolve into the mouse. But when you are doing longer hours with this mouse, like longer gaming sessions, and let's say you are intense, and when you're playing with a mouse that as bulky, as chunky as this mouse is, you're probably playing with a more restrictive grip like palm grip or like claw palm or something like that. And over time, in this area in particular, and really everywhere in general, but just really in this area in particular, you can really feel when your palm is sweating a lot, and oh my god, it is so annoying. The mouse feels like a bar of soap. It's kind of like what I talked about with the X2H when I did an update review for that mouse. The coding is terrible, and that ruins the whole experience for me. Like I said, this mouse isn't doing anything unique, but one thing I always say, like no matter what, if you got a good coding, it can make up for a lot of things with the mouse. So I decided, hey, well, I'm going to use the grips that's included. It comes with grips, it comes with skates. The skates are not that good either. They work on glass, but for the most part, any skate work on glass, but you know, they're not that great on cloth, very sticky. So I do recommend swapping off of these when you get them. But they do offer extra skates in the box that are very similar to these. They offer grips in the box as well. Now, I'm not expecting much from a budget option mouse, but I will say that the grips didn't really impress me either. They was okay, but as always, there is better options out there, but they are a decent start into getting somewhere else. But if you're buying this mouse, and if I have to use grips with it, man, it kind of you know. So definitely, if you buy this mouse, I highly recommend you buy the black variant or the white variant. Now, outside of the coding and outside of the shape, because there's not too much to say about the shape. The shape feels like the Viper V3 Pro. It feels very symmetrical, very standard. It's a big boy mouse. There's not a lot of micro adjustments you're going to be doing, and it's just overall, like, if you need that kind of shape but at a cheaper price, then you can look at an option like this. So what does this mouse do that I could say justify you buying it? What is the whole point of you buying this mouse? If you have $40 to $60 to spend and you really love the Viper V3 Pro shape, but you just don't have the money to spend on it, then I can recommend this mouse to you to that degree. It's going to come with some things that's going to bother you, like most budget mice do, but for the most part, in terms of performance, in terms of overall click feel, and in terms of just being able to use this mouse on a daily basis without any issues, it can be done. I definitely would love to see them in the future improve upon the weight balancing and the coding on this mouse. I think QC wise, it's overall solid. It's very durable, so very, very sturdy mouse. It comes in at about 60 grams, but it feels a little bit heavier than that. But very dense, very chunky feeling mouse. And when you squeeze it, it doesn't really have any give. There's not really anything going on with it to say that this QC or the build is just terrible, you know what I'm saying? It has a few things where it's like it could be better, but for the most part, it's solid. So for this to be $40 to $60 and to be almost a 1-to-1 clone to the Viper V3 Pro, I couldn't even be mad about spending $40 to $60 on this mouse. And I mean, at the end of the day, if you can accept that you're getting what you're paying for, then I mean, this can be a good pickup for you. But just know that if you get the red or the green one, the coding is terrible in my opinion. I know people gonna disagree with me because I've seen a bunch of reviewers talk about how they love this glossy coding. This coding feels amazing. I feel like they really gassing it up, or they didn't spend enough time with this coding, because this coding is OD slippery. Like, I'm talking about slippery as hell. It got its moments where it can be grippy, but it always feel like you're never holding the mouse the way you want to. It always feel like it's a question mark when holding it because of that coding. So I'm almost for certain that if you get some good grips, or if you go and get the black or the white version of this mouse, that you will probably have a much better experience than I did. But outside of the coding and few minor things I talked about, this is a pretty solid mouse. This review sounds pretty negative, but I'm being pretty harsh on them because I want them to improve. And if you're gonna be selling a product that is designed to be a clone of a popular, extremely popular premium product, then make sure the cheaper product is good enough to where you can justify competing with it. Like, for instance, Cyrox had put out some genuinely good shapes and some good mice with good codings and good performance that people were saying, hey, they can compete, you know what I'm saying? So that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But other than that, you know, it's been your boy Wizard. Thank you to Eweadn. I'm sorry if I'm messing you guys' name up. I do apologize. I'm horrible with names. But I do appreciate y'all for sending this mouse out for review. I did enjoy, for the most part, using the mouse on a day-to-day basis. This was my main mouse for about a week or two. I really enjoy using it overall, but just that coding ruined the experience. So if you guys can improve that glossy coding finish, hey man, say. Other than that though, this is a pretty decent mouse. If you have this mouse or you're thinking about buying it, let me know what you think about it in the comments. Other than that, it's been your boy Wizard. I'm out, man. Peace.